They had the Run for the Roses today in Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky. But here in Charlotte, Louisville's soccer team looks to turn the quarter post with an undefeated record tonight. Louisville City may be a franchise younger than a Philly, but the team is one of 4 squads in the United Soccer League undefeated. While Charlotte Independence isn't a long shot tonight, they are searching for its first win as a franchise after a disappointing tie against Harrisburg City last week here at Transamerica Field. It's not the Kentucky Derby tonight in Charlotte, but it might as well be if Louisville wants to stay competitive with Richmond and Charleston, as well as Rochester atop the Eastern Conference table, and if Charlotte wants to get into playoff contention. And good evening from Transamerica Field on the campus of UNC Charlotte. I'm Jeff Hamlin along with Jack Bundum and Ryan Brown taking care of our broadcast tonight here on YouTube. Tonight, Louisville City, a mark of 2-0-3, 9 points. Right now they are in third in the Eastern Conference, taking on 0-2-2 Charlotte Independence. They are 13th in the Eastern Conference. And the problem, Jack, thus far for Charlotte Independence is the fact that they have not scored goals. They are at the bottom of the league when it comes to scoring output. And this week they aim to make some changes at remedying that, and that's reflected in some changes in the starting lineup tonight, namely the addition of one Meshach Jerome, who played for the Haitian national team. He has World Cup experience, also has MLS experience playing with Montreal Impact along with Sporting Kansas City. He's going to be an addition tonight, and there are several positional changes as well. Yeah,
Jerome comes in the central defense. And Coach Jeffrey's been playing around with that a little bit at the back, trying to find a good balance, and Slojic is in there at right back as well tonight, with Hairston moving across to left back. I think that'll provide the Independents a good bit of balance, with Slojic more defensive-minded, right wing back, maybe allowing Hairston to really get forwards and just provide that little bit more balance there at the back. And then Ribeiro slides from his central defensive position up to the holding midfield. Always very composed on the ball. We're looking to get him on the ball alongside Del Piccolo and find his attacking 4 players in Martinez, Herrera, Thompson, and Finley. So hopefully, like we said last week, they've been taking shots, they've been creating chances. with a bit more luck, they'll find the back of the net. Hopefully they do that tonight.
And certainly Charlotte last week was at its best in the first half against Harrisburg City when Marlon Hairston was charging up the right flank. And that caused Harrisburg City to make a positional change. They went 4-3-3 in the second half, and that seemed to shut down Charlotte offensively.
Yeah, well, they were getting a lot of joy out of the two fullbacks. Cox was getting forward, and like you said, Hairston was doing really well and had a great chance, actually, that he could have done slightly better with, slightly miscued it. But, I mean, they made the tactical switch at half-time, and they came out and they pinned the two fullbacks back of the Independents, and I think that really altered the game.
This is a Louisville City team that's a first-year squad in the United Soccer League. This was a franchise that transferred from Orlando City after the Lions graduated onto Major League Soccer. The franchise shifted up to Kentucky. Right now, Louisville City is playing in Louisville Slugger Field, where they have a unique setup. And the head coach of the team, James O'Connor, spent 16 years playing professionally in England before he went on to become a player coach with Orlando City. And it's interesting that even though Louisville City has an affiliation with Orlando City, the Lions have not been all that generous in sending loanees to Louisville City. But Coach O'Connor has found the right players for his system. However, their depth will be tested coming up tonight, and that's reflected in our starting lineups as we take a look at Louisville City. A couple of changes. First and foremost, you might notice at the forward position, usually Charlie Adams is a player who starts for Louisville City, but he's not in the lineup tonight. He received a red card in Louisville City's 2-0 win last week over the Tulsa Roughnecks at Louisville Slugger Stadium, and thus that's the reason why you see Nate Pollock in the starting lineup. He will get his third start of the season. The straw that stirs the drink for Louisville City in terms of scoring is number 9, Matt Bondi, who wound up scoring his first goal of the year last week in victory over Tulsa. He had several opportunities before that, but he headed home a header last week that was set up very well by Brian Burke, man who you see starting tonight as a defenseman. Also starting tonight, getting his first start of the season, will be Enrique Montano as he replaces Adam West in the lineup. West has a minor injury and stayed back in Louisville for this contest. Also, it's a homecoming tonight for number 8, Juan Guzman, who spent a long time playing here in Charlotte. Guzman spent 5 years and 92 games with the previous USL squad here in Charlotte with the Charlotte Eagles, but Guzman, who played, in fact grew up here in Charlotte, played at Charlotte Latin High School, getting his usual start along with number 10, Magnus Rasmussen, number 11, Mario McCabe. Also in there, Connor Shinosky and Tariq Murad. And the goalkeeper is a Raleigh native, Scott Goodwin, who played 2.5 hours up the road on I-85 North with the Carolina Railhawks in Cary, North Carolina last season. Now he is with Louisville City. We talked about the changes in the starting lineup for Charlotte. They will go with John Berner, no change there in net. Patrick Slogic, and for the first time ever, Meshach Jerome starting as a center back tonight for Independence in his first game with Charlotte. Belial Duckett playing his second game with Independence, also at center back, and Marlon Hairston will be playing on the wing. The front four midfielders, Jorge Herrera, Andrew Ribeiro goes from center back tonight to midfield. As Jack mentioned, he moves up. Paolo Del Piccolo makes his 5th start of the season, and Alex Martinez starts at midfield. And the forwards will be Ryan Finley, who has 2 goals, the leading scorer on this Independence team, along with number 11, Jack Thompson. So that's how it stacks up here tonight at a sun-drenched Transamerica Stadium as we get ready for Charlotte versus Louisville City. And we're going to pause for the playing of our national anthem here tonight as we come at you from the Queen City as Charlotte looks for its first ever franchise victory. One thing that Louisville City will tell you for sure, they like the weather to start this game tonight much better than they did for their game last week against the Tulsa Roughnecks over at Louisville Slugger Stadium. Right at the very beginning of that game, a hailstorm erupted, and in fact, they had a young woman who was all of 14 years old singing the national anthem, and to show how poised she was, she completed the national anthem with hail falling all around her. There was a rainstorm at the beginning of the game, and the interesting thing about Louisville Slugger Stadium is once you go to the west end of that stadium, and like a lot of USL teams, Louisville City plays in a baseball park. The infield is artificial turf at Slugger Stadium, but the outfield is natural grass. So you take artificial turf and then add ice to it, and you can imagine how well the footing was at the beginning of that game last week. Ultimately, it was Louisville City that came out on top against the Roughnecks 2-0. It was an own goal scored late in that contest, but the game winner came in the 32nd minute for one Matt Fondy, a native of Foster City, California, who played at UCal Santa Cruz. In his 5th season playing professionally, he is 7th in the league in shots. He had an earlier opportunity to score on the road against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in the 82nd minute on a penalty kick when Louisville City was down 1-0 in that game. He wound up missing that penalty, but Louisville City wound up scoring at the death. They wound up finishing in a tie with Pittsburgh, as it was Kadeem Dakers who wound up scoring in injury time to wind up taking home the tie. And that's a big reason why Louisville City remains undefeated and in 4th place in the Eastern Conference with a 2-0-3 mark. They have 9 points to their credit. And, of course, Charlotte still searching for its first victory. And you see Scott Goodwin, the native of Raleigh who played at UNC. He was part of 4 ACC regular season championship teams, and he wound up being a member of the national championship team in 2011 with the Tar Heels. And the man opposing him in net for Charlotte will be John Berner, the 6'3" native of St. Louis who played with the Colorado Rapids and still is on loan for Colorado. If you were watching MLS earlier this week, you might have noticed that former Independence player Charles Alondu played in the game, checked in the 74th minute for the Colorado Rapids against the Red Bulls the other night, and with that, another milestone in Independence franchise history as Alondu became the first man ever to play for Independence and then go on to play for an MLS team in the same season. Charlotte has won the coin toss. They've elected to receive the opening kickoff, and we are all set for action here as Independence in their royal blue jerseys and royal blue shorts going up against Louisville City in their white road uniforms with purple trim. They have home uniforms that are very similar to their parent club in MLS, Orlando City. Happy you're with us here tonight on YouTube, and we'd like to greet also the Louisville fan group, the Louisville Coopers, who might be tuning in as well from Kentucky just after the Run for the Roses has wound down today at Churchill Downs. And as you can see, Charlotte with the ball trying to be patient going to the far end of the field as Independence will try to find some room. And when you have lineup changes like the ones that Charlotte has made, and they have opted to put Ribeiro over as a center back here, it's going to take some time, a bit of a feeling out process here for Coach Jeffries and his crew for Independence as the ball goes out of bounds. Jack Thompson unable to save it. And right back here comes Fondy for Orlando City with 3 Independence players around him, creating a turnover. And the new man, Meshach Jerome, was one of the players involved in that. He sent it away to Bilal Duckett as Jack Militia, with an array of flags to the far end of the field, starts their first song of the evening here tonight at a sun-drenched Transamerica field. James O'Connor, there you see Jack's Militia, and they were gearing up for the first Saturday game in Charlotte franchise history here tonight, and some familiar faces. In fact, several players on these squads quite familiar with one another. No player more familiar with Charlotte, perhaps on the field tonight, than the one playing for Louisville City, and that's Juan Guzman. We'll talk about him a little bit later on. First of all, this is Nate Pollock playing the ball the way to Rasmussen. Now he tries to get it deep down the field for the native of Dublin, Ireland, Niall McCabe, but it winds up going over the end line, and John Brunner will have a goal kick on his hands. Juan Guzman was a man who wound up playing 92 games, as we told you in pregame, for the Charlotte Eagles. And when the Eagles relegated themselves and Charlotte Independence became the United Soccer League team, Guzman decided to hang his hat in Louisville City for this season, but he says still his greatest thrill in all of soccer, and he's been playing since he was 4 years old, was when Charlotte wound up making the USL Pro Championship game 2 years ago, playing in front of an incredible atmosphere at Orlando City, a game that Charlotte wound up winning to take home the championship. The Charlotte Eagles won that championship. Jerome goes far down the field. Going for it that time was Thompson. He was unable to get there, but Charlotte maintains possession. This is Alex Martinez, stripped of the ball by Brian Burke. He and Martinez getting a tangle up as we enter the 4th minute of the game. Independence trying to keep it in play. Del Piccolo comes over, and coming up from behind to take it away was Thompson. As the sun sets on the west, and unfortunately for just about everyone in the home grandstand, the sun is staring them right in the face right now. That's just how things are when we start a half hour earlier than usual as we extend on into the summer. This is the new player, Mishak Jerome, member of the Haitian national team, played several Gold Cups for the Haitians. Now it's Thompson, and then a giveaway. It's taken away by Enrique Montano, making his first starting appearance here tonight for Louisville City. Fondy up the field, stripped by Hairston, comes away to McCabe. Now he sends away to Pollock. Here comes Guzman with it. Good ball to the far end of the field. Dacres now invading to the left side of the pitch. Sends the ball ahead to Fondy. He'll try to recapture it, saves it from going over the end line. Hairston, now McCabe enters the box, has a chance, and it goes off the head of 15 Belial Duckett, and we'll have our first corner of the night.
Yep, first chance of the game there for Louisville. Both teams, well, Charlotte with good early possession. Louisville look like they're willing to stay organised, stay tight, allow the back four, Charlotte Independence, to move that ball around the back four and then press the ball up the midfield and look to hopefully counter Charlotte. But that's the first chance of the game. We've got a corner now for Louisville.
Louisville has had 36 corners now in 5 games in 5 minutes. That's the best rate in USL. Incoming ball, but John Berner goes over the back of his own man to capture it.
Comes and claims it nice and confidently. It's a good start for Berner.
Berner coming into the contest. The veteran played 8 games with the Colorado Rapids last season. Made his debut against the New York Red Bulls on March 15, 2014, after being selected 35th overall by the Colorado Rapids in the 2013 MLS Super Draft. Coming up on the 6th minute here, after our first corner of the game, 36 corners for Louisville City. Shows you how aggressive this team is. In fact, we told you about the red card that Charlie Adams picked up last week in the 55th minute against Tulsa, which is why he's not playing tonight. Of course, that also meant that Louisville City had to play the last 35 minutes of last week's game against the Tulsa Roughnecks shorthanded. Nonetheless, Tulsa got only 2 shots on net for the rest of the night, even though they had a man advantage. And, of course, Louisville scored late off the ungoal. Del Piccolo creates a turnover, tries to chip it ahead for Finley. Finley tries to poke it past Goodwin. Now the rebound opportunity, and it sails over the crossbar.
Great chance for Charlotte Independence. It was Del Piccolo cut the pass out. Sloppy pass from the Louisville central midfielder. Del Piccolo cuts it out and chips a delightful little ball over the top for Finley. Keeper came out and made a good honest save, and Herrera tamely put the ball over the bar and really could have put his laces behind it and put it on target.
Another missed opportunity there. Jorge Herrera had an open net, but it was a tad bit aggressive with it. Unfortunate there, as Charlotte had a golden opportunity whiz by the crossbar. This is number 6, Tariq Murad. Goes to the near sideline. It goes to Montaño. And now up the field. Here comes Pollock. Down for a moment goes Jerome. Now from distance, the shot up, and McCabe just missed it wide. It was tipped away by Berner, and it's going to be the second corner of the night. Berner doesn't look happy with his defense.
Yeah, trying to get them organised, trying to wake them up. McCabe found himself in a lot of space on the edge of the box, and I think that's what Berner won't be too happy with. Gave him a good sighting at goal, and he found his rage, he hit the target, and Berner got a good strong hand to tip it over the bar.
Standard operating procedure here for Louisville City. They two men last week against Tulsa, put them out in the corner spot, and left it up to the defense to decide which one was going to take the corner. Rasmussen takes it here, and it's headed away and cleared away from danger by Herrera. Out there to receive it right back. This is number 20, Montallo. Now goes to Guzman, and back come Louisville City. Tugging at the jersey perhaps is Martinez, and he heads it out, as it was Magnus Rasmussen, the native of Copenhagen, Denmark, who tried the cross that time. Now Burke forces another throw as it goes off Martinez. Two corners and a shot already here for Louisville City, as we are still scoreless here early on tonight at Transamerica Field. Trying to make a solid run that time was Rasmussen, but he couldn't control, and it goes over the end line. And Jack, this was a golden opportunity here for Herrera.
Yeah, Del Piccolo with a great little ball over the top. Finley's just trying to find it on the left foot. Keeper makes a good save there with his feet, and Herrera, you know, one of your technically gifted players for Charlotte Independence.
This was ruled a corner, last touch by Charlotte. And here's Rasmussen, another curler that's taken away and immediately headed out. And it'll be the fourth corner already in the game, and Louisville had a golden opportunity of its own right here from distance.
Yeah, great strike. Puts his head down, gets in on target, and Berner just gets a strong hand over the bar there for the Independents.
Rasmussen again curls it in. Slogic gets a head on it. Ball still free in the net, and the attempt just goes wide. That time it appeared to be McCabe who had the opportunity at it.
Yeah, another good effort, good chance, really. That's two good chances, one each now for both teams. Independent, I mean, Louisville have been targeting that front post and the corners. I'd like to see it whipped in there with a little bit more pace as opposed to floated. Slogic and Berner have been able to deal with it relatively easily.
That was Connor Shinosky who had the chance with his cross foot, realized he let a golden opportunity slide for what would have been his first goal of the season. Shinosky has played every minute of every game thus far. Referee assistant to the near side, Kevin Roberts, with his flag up for an offside called against Independence. It was McCabe first getting a foot on it, and then Shinosky just whizzed it right over the crossbar. So after the offside infraction, Tariq Murad will send the ball away. As thus far, Louisville City has been the aggressors, with one shot on net and four corners. Goodwin comes out of net to send it up to midfield. Dakers comes along to head it. And it'll go along to Brian Burke, the native of Newport Beach, California, who played for the San Francisco Dons. It's interesting that our producer, Ryan Brown, noticed there that Andrew Ribeiro might have touched that with his hand once it went in the box, although there were no complaints from the Louisville City side. Jerome plays it to midfield. That's taken away by Thompson. But there to field it once again is Louisville City. As Guzman. This is going to be Rasmussen with the ball. He sends it to the near side. McCabe tries to play it in the box, does so for Fondy, who can't control it. Dakers is there to pick it right back up. Here's Dakers maintaining control. Tries to fire from 20 yards, but it goes off the foot of Ribeiro. Chased down to the far side. Burke placed the cross in. Dakers is there, but he placed it wide. Had a gorgeous cross set up for him, right foot, but he missed it to the left of the crossbar.
Well, Charlotte Independent switched off there. I think it's Del Piccolo let his man run off the back of him, snuck in behind. I think maybe he thought that they were going to settle for a corner, and he decided to put it in the box, and it was a good run by Dakers, and really should have done a lot better there with the chance from about 7 yards out.
That was similar to the setup that Brian Burke gave Matt Fondy last week, a header that wound up netting the first goal of Fondy's season for Louisville City against the Tulsa Roughnecks, and of course that turned out to be the game winner. And Burke set him up very well there from distance.
Yeah, it's a big let off for the Independents.
Del Piccolo. Charlotte's just looking for any rhythm that they can offensively right now, and they're having a hard time finding it.
Yeah, they're content just to, a lower line of pressure, allow that back four of the Independents to move the ball around. The central defenders have really got to try and pick their passes, split the lines, and the midfielders in Herrera and Del Piccolo have got to get in between those two midfielders and get on the half turn and pick the ball up.
And now here's Thompson trying to maintain control in the box, but he can't. As a couple of Louisville players got in, Fondy controls. Here's Dakers. Kadeem, who scored his only goal to net that tie at Pittsburgh that kept Louisville City undefeated. Far in the field, Rasmussen captures the ball. Goes down the right sideline, tries to play the long ball ahead for Dakers, but that's broken up and cleared momentarily out of play. Very well done.
Really good, strong running from Dakers. You know, he's not content just to pass the ball. He passes the ball and makes a run past the Independence back four, and that's two or three times now in the opening 15 minutes that we've seen Dakers make those good, strong runs.
Kadeem Dakers has been a very solid player early on here. Had that stoppage time equalizer against the Riverhounds we told you about. He was drafted by Chicago in the MLS Super Draft last year but was not signed. Long ball put forward by Paulo Del Piccolo. Winds up on the feet of Goodwin, and he sends it away. Almost into the 14th minute here tonight at Transamerica Field. Charlotte will have one more home game next week, but it won't be here at Transamerica Field. We'll tell you more about that later on. In fact, it technically won't be in the state of North Carolina. Oh, excellent long ball played here as Montoya sends away to Pollock. He'll try to fire away from the left side, but it goes wide, and Berner lets that ball go free for a goal kick.
Yeah, they're taking every chance they can. If it's 25, 30 yards out, they get a sight on goal. They're looking to test Berner early. And we talked about last week about the number of shots that Independents have taken, and how aggressive they are. And this Louisville team are also, very aggressive. They've taken 56 shots and converted 7 of them at the moment. So both teams looking to be aggressive. Any chance, any sight on goal, they need to be closed down. The intention is there to shoot. So let's make sure that Jerome and Duckett are getting out there quickly to close those forwards down.
Well, so far it has been a busy night for Meshach Jerome in his debut with Charlotte. Ribeiro now moved to the wingback position, and Jerome taking over at center back, the position that Ribeiro's held for the first 4 games of the season for Independence. Ribeiro now at midfield, goes for Slogic, another man playing a new role here tonight. Tries to send it up the field, but that's too far for Ryan Finley and out of play. Coach Mike Jeffries leading Independence. Actually, it's going to be a throw-in coming up here for Independence, but that one cleared away quickly by Burke. Del Piccolo there to take it back. Goes to the far end. Herrera, defended by Burke and stripped away cleanly. And Burke cannot keep it in play. Mike Jeffries, the head coach of Independence, coached the Dallas, what was then known as the Dallas Burn of MLS, now known as FC Dallas, from 2001 to 2003, trying to guide Charlotte to its first ever win here tonight after that disappointment against Harrisburg City last week. Thus far, Independence on their heels as we're 16 minutes in. Fondy takes it back here for Louisville City. Rasmussen plays the ball up the field, tried to get it to Guzman, who might have been shoved from behind, and a foul is called. As Guzman back on a turf that he is very familiar with here in Charlotte. Went to Charlotte Latin High School, played years for Charlotte Eagles, and there he was fouled by Herrera. And don't forget, folks, that we encourage you to go to uslsoccer.com and have you visited the new uslsoccer.com, get the latest news and live stats, and check out the new social media hub on uslsoccer.com. You can keep up with the league standings and everything else you need to know regarding play around the league. Some big games going on tonight, including Charleston Battery against Richmond Kickers, 2 teams that are undefeated thus far in the Eastern Conference. A battle for the top spot in the East right now, and Rochester in action tonight as well. Another team, 4 teams undefeated in the entire league, and they're all in the Eastern Conference table. Fondy with the takeaway. He'll penetrate to the left side. Martinez tries to come over to stop him. Dakers is there to rescue the ball. He'll curl to the left. Hairston now defending him. Dakers couldn't find an angle. Plays it back. Montoya with the cross. Headed out quickly by Jerome. Dakers there trying to rescue it. Louisville City wanting a handball on Marlon Hairston. No whistle, and it goes off the near sideline.
Yeah, City asking for the referee for a handball there inside the box, but the referee immediately waving it away. Was a couple of claims. I'd have to see the replay again. I couldn't tell from my angle up here.
Good clearance there by Hairston as he gets the ball quickly over to Ribeiro. But again, Charlotte is cut off at midfield. Here's Guzman. Del Piccolo tries to create a turnover, nothing doing as Guzman gets it right back. He's the defensive midfielder for this City squad. here in the 18th minute without a score. Burke, stop and go move. Dakers, double team, quickly ahead. This is Burke to the far end. Guzman, pressure put on him from behind by Herrera. And Louisville City will now look to reset. Tariq Murad goes to Montaglio. Now Nail McCabe, who played his college soccer in Georgia, but he is a native of Ireland, and a beautiful move momentarily, but then he was taken away from behind by Jack Thompson. Duckett, Jerome tries to clear it away and does so on the near sideline, but the first touch it appeared to be somewhat threatening as Fondy tried to strip it away. Here was Hairston once again, and that was close. Looked like both men could have been hit with handballs there.
Yeah, I don't think either of them was an intentional handball. They're just bobbling around, bouncing around each other's chest and sort of glanced at, good call by the referee there.
Burke is the charging cornerback, and he'll run toward the net to the near side of the field. Puts it along play. Fondy there at the goal mouth. Plays it from behind. The shot attempt that time by Pollock was tipped away and cleared. Good play that time. It appeared that Del Piccolo managed to get over and halt. It was Ribeiro, actually, who got over there. It was number 6, Andrew Ribeiro, who came over and halted that shot attempt. And it was a dangerous attempt there by Nate Pollock.
Yeah, Pollock just mishitting, really, the ball, mistiming his shot. Again, inside the penalty area. Independents really just need to try and get hold of this ball. At the moment, Louisville City are starting to get on top of this game. They're certainly winning the midfield battle. Charlotte, the Independents have really struggled to try, find their midfield players in Jack Thompson and Jorge Herrera and Del Piccolo and Martinez. They've failed to find their feet, and that's been the way the game's gone at the minute, and allowed Louisville City to stay on top.
He doesn't have numbers, but Ryan Finley charges back. Now penetrates to the net, stripped away. Who's it going to go off of? Shinosky came in to challenge it, and they're going to win off Finley. Shinosky doing a good job to shut down a major attack. Finley had the attitude there that he needed to create something himself, and darn near did just that. As we're in the 20th minute here tonight at Transamerica Field. On the scoreboard, they have Louisville City with one shot. I assume that's on net because they've had many, many more attempts than that. They've just gone wide of John Berner. Herrera with the header, plays it along for Thompson as Charlotte tries to create some momentum. Here comes Martinez to the far end of the field. He'll enter the box against Dakers, puts it on net. Easy pickup for Goodwin. Goodwin in his second pro season. He signed away from UNC with the Carolina Railhawks, made his professional debut with the Railhawks in net in the U.S. Open Cup in 2014 against Chivas USA, and that was one of 2 wins last year in the U.S. Open Cup for the Carolina Railhawks against teams from Los Angeles. First, they defeated Chivas USA, of course, the team that's now defunct, and the following week, they managed to knock off the Los Angeles Galaxy, and yes, Landon Donovan did play that night for the Galaxy over in Cary. If it's looking somewhat bright on your screen, that's because the sun is setting, and a lot of fans are having to watch the game with their right or left hands above their eyes, as it's tough to watch the contest with the sun right in your face. Still a very good crowd here tonight is assembled at Transamerica Field on a busy sports weekend. Touched by Herrera. Finley didn't see it coming as he was running backwards. Ball clear to midfield. Pollock tries to get there, but he loses the race. Ribeiro is there. Winds up tracking down the loose ball. Slogic plays it up. Shinosky heads it. Independence looks to take it back. Fondy comes up with his cleats up. Oh, the foul's going to go against Del Piccolo here. Pollock drew it. Del Piccolo saying, wait a minute, I wasn't the one going high with my spikes. But Del Piccolo hit with the foul in the 22nd minute. Take a look at this here.
Yeah, Del Piccolo's got eyes on the ball. He goes in strong. Doesn't win the ball, I think. 50-50.
Yeah.
Strong tackle. I don't see anything wrong with that. And Del Piccolo obviously voiced his frustration. But it's important that he doesn't do that. Doesn't get onto the referee too much. Nice
give and go. This is Burke going in the box. Tries to play it to the net, but it was tipped away by Jerome. That was set up very nicely. And as we told you, Brian Burke is one of those charging cornerbacks, and this is going to force yet another corner here for Louisville City. This is their 6th in the game already.
Yeah, let's see the corner kick taker here can put a little bit more pace on the ball. They've put the first 3 or 4 into the front post.
McKay puts it in. It's loose in the box, but it was kicked away by Jerome. Header put on by Fondy. Berner will come down with that. So John Berner makes the save there on what was a lofted header that time by Matt Fondy, who was looking for his 2nd goal in as many weeks. To the near sideline, Enrique Montano. Guzman plays alongside Pollock now for McCabe on the left. Hairston marking McCabe. As Jack Militia continues to make noise, hoping to see and be witness to the first win in Charlotte Independent's history tonight against this Louisville City team that has come out of the gates running. Pardon the horse racing reference. Well, I guess that's fitting considering it's Louisville. Excellent long ball. Del Piccolo goes for Martinez, charges in. Martinez just over the net. Another gorgeous attempt, but it was just struck a tad hard.
Del Piccolo finding Martinez in, good bit of space in 1v1 situation. Martinez is able to carry the ball into the box and strikes it with his left foot just over the bar. Another good chance by Independence. And you can see that's Del Piccolo with the 2nd time he's found a good ball in there. And the Independents, especially the central defenders, really need to try and find Del Piccolo and Herrera in those sort of spaces in midfield, because you can see the damage that they can do when they get on the ball.
Absolutely. Excellent setup. Del Piccolo nearly created a turnover on the ensuing goal kick. Finley will take a loose ball at midfield. Charlotte has some numbers here.
Yeah, 4-on-4 here.
Here comes Finley. Double team, gets it away. Martinez will have another crack at it. In the box, away to the right foot. Herrera's there, but it was blocked away. Herrera stays with it, and it just trickles wide of the net. Chase to the near corner. It looked like for a second Charlotte would have its 2nd ever franchise lead. Herrera just had it trickle by the net to the right, and now a foul whistled against Thompson.
Well, another great chance for Jorge Herrera. He rather misfortunately mishit his first shot. As you get a second look at it here, mishits the first one, falls beautifully for him, and just off the inside of the post, you're thinking, maybe it's going to run across the line off the other post.
It looked like that Finley might have struck that one with his waist. Tariq Murad blocked the first attempt.
Right.
So a gorgeous opportunity.
Another great chance.
And this has been a stingy defense for Louisville City. They have a 5-game unbeaten streak to start this season, and they've given up just 3 goals in its first 5 games. Gave up a goal to Pittsburgh and had a clean sheet last week in the victory over the Tulsa Roughnecks. Also gave up a goal to Rochester and another one of those draws. Scott Goodwin posted his first clean sheet as a member of City last week over at Louisville Slugger Stadium. So now Charlotte has come up with its best momentum thus far in the game over the last few minutes. Montano cuts inside to evade Thompson momentarily, sends the long ball ahead. Fondy tried to capture it, but that was quickly disposed of by Belial Duckett, making his 2nd Charlotte appearance, and this will become corner number 6 on the night for Louisville City. Coming up on the 26th minute, this will be the first one from the left side of the field. And as usual, City will put 2 players on the near side at the corner spot. This time it will be the captain of the team, Magnus Rasmussen, and Juan Guzman. Guzman getting some cheers. Longtime Charlotte player and a Charlotte native. He'll put it in the box. Martinez is there, has some trouble gaining it, but manages to send it away. Thompson, Charlotte still can't clear. Now Martinez will capture it, and he'll head out of play as it was Pollock who wound up poking it out.
Louisville have been rather disappointed with the 6 corners they have had. They've targeted the front post with every single one, but no real pace on the ball, or and that one failing to get past the first man there. And Independence have been able to deal with the threat of the corners with relative ease so far.
Well, Louisville City averaging 7 corners a game. They've nearly matched that here in the first 30 minutes of the contest. They've had 35 corners in their first 5 games, where they've gone 2-0-3 to begin the season. Jerome to the far end. Del Piccolo That's intercepted by Shinosky. Louisville City, again, we told you they're not a team that's been the beneficiary of a lot of pickups or loanees from their parent club in MLS. But they have managed to conjure together a very formidable side. Here's Murad overlapping on the takeaway. Now goes to Burke. He'll play it to the far end. Fondy looking for Burke. He'll try to cross. That was deflected away by Jerome. And then taken away by Ribeiro. Slogic with the giveaway. Fondy is there to take it back for LCFC. On the right sideline, nice between a double team. But then Del Piccolo is there to take it away. Here comes Thompson back. Tripped up, and there'll be a foul whistle there, I believe, against Enrique Montoyo. Long ball ahead. Getting under it, Herrera. He's onside. Referee's flag on the near sideline stays down. Here's Martinez entering the box. Going to leave it away for Finley, but it was kicked away quickly by Murad, who has interrupted several scoring attempts here tonight for Independence.
Yeah, finding Martinez again. It was a nice early ball by Del Piccolo. Struck it really well to Herrera, who dropped it off to Alex Martinez, who burst into the box and pulled the ball back, but unfortunately for the Independence, he couldn't find a blue shirt.
You'll notice that Raphael Cox not in the lineup tonight. This is the first time all year in which he has not started a game at left back for Independence, as Coach Mike Jeffries wanted to experiment with a different back four, and they have done so with Augusto. Belial Duckett making his second start, and we told you about Meshach Jerome during pregame making his first start. Herrera tries to win the header as he goes up against Montoya, and now the header put forth by McCabe took it away into Goodwin's arms. Battle at midfield. Ribeiro. Here's Marlon Hairston. Independence will gain it back. Well, the sun beginning to set now on what's been a busy day around the Charlotte athletic facilities. Just to the north of us, the Charlotte 49ers softball team was in action, and then just to the right of that stadium, across the street, the Charlotte 49ers baseball team was in action as well. So it was a busy, busy day here around campus. Herrera back the other way for Charlotte. Plays it alongside for Martinez, who's on the right back lot tonight, but he was stripped away quickly by Burke. Up the field, Fondy tries to secure possession and does against Belial Duckett. And now Finlay there on the interception. Charlotte creates a turnover. Herrera there. Here's the chip in the box, and it'll just go out of play. A tricky ball put up by Martinez once again that tested Goodwin as it came in somewhat strangely on net. A little off-speed shot that just lofted over the crossbar.
I'd love to see the Independents be a little bit more positive, a little bit more direct when winning the ball that high up the field, with 4 or 5 Louisville City players, behind the ball. I'd love to see them be a little bit, and he just slowed the game down and allowed Louisville players to filter back in, and then obviously a poor cross at the end there.
Herrera strips it away from Guzman. Louisville City takes it right back. Here comes Dakers, plays it for Fondy, and he's tripped up, and it'll be a foul called.
Yeah, it might be the first yellow card of the game there. His referee's going to maybe just have a word with Del Piccolo.
Yeah, Del Piccolo was the one whistled. And the referee, Jeremy Smith, holds up the yellow card, and for Del Piccolo, that will be a booking. So the yellow called there, and Matt Fondy, as we'll take a look once again, has stayed down for a lengthy amount of time.
A yellow card has been issued against the Independents.
Yeah, strong late tackle. The ball wasn't there, and it also really left his feet and really did warrant the yellow card. Del Piccolo, he looks to be up for this game. There's a couple of tackles he's gone in for, nice and strong. He just needs to make sure he does keep his composure. But there's nothing wrong with that aggression in the midfield.
That'll be the first yellow of the year for Del Piccolo. Enrique Montoyo on the left back position as it go out of bounds. You can feel the urgency for Charlotte in this game because over the next couple of weeks they'll be playing teams that right now are undefeated in league play. Of course, tonight here against LCFC, and then Next week, they'll play the Richmond Kickers over at Rock Hill, South Carolina. As Charlotte will have a home game, but they'll take their act somewhat on the road. Won't be that much of a road trip for the Martinez brothers, Alex and Enzo Martinez, since they come from Rock Hill, up I-95 each and every day to train. Or excuse me, I-77. I get my roads correct. I've lived in North Carolina all my life. You'd think I'd know that.
Well, if it wasn't for my Google sat nav, I
You
wouldn't have made it to the
You
game
would have been
tonight.
lost too. Okay, well, there you go. Here comes Jerome back, and he'll play it away to Burner. As we're in the 33rd minute now, the story of the game, early chances for Louisville City, and neither team really has cashed in, although Louisville City has had 6 corners over the course of the contest. Shinosky plays it along to Tariq Murad. And now here comes Montoya back the other way. Coach for Louisville City, James O'Connor. He played 16 years in the Football Association. He made 482 appearances with Stoke City, West Brom, Burnley, and Sheffield Wednesday, but he never played in the Premier League. 482 games. Did have an FA Cup appearance with West Brom when they were in the Premier League, but he never actually played in a Premier game.
Right.
Take a look at the sun, and this is basically what the spectators have had to deal with. That's the gallery tonight in a nutshell. A lot of fans having to look at the game this way to begin this contest. Hopefully, though, the sun will, in fact, it will go down here in about 20 minutes. Finley tried to play the cross away to Martinez on a quick give and go, but the touch was a tad hard.
He actually had a little bit more time and space than maybe he thought. He was inside the 18-yard box. So I'm sure he thought he was going to be, tightly marked. But he did actually have 2 or 3 yards of space. He maybe could have turned on and even got a quick shot off. Obviously, no communication there from Alex Martinez.
Charlotte has had those opportunities, though, over the last few minutes. None better than the one that Herrera's had. He's had 2 separate chances and 2 shots that went in close on net. One was blocked by Tariq Murad. The other was off the body, it appeared, of Ryan Finley and just trickled wide right of the net. Giveaway here. Meshach Jerome playing his first game with Independence. Away, Thompson. Taken away by Guzman. Now it goes to Kadeem Dakers. And the long ball up the field. Onside is McCabe. He'll charge in on Hairston. Plays the cross for Fondy, but it's just wide. Slogic will run up from behind to take over possession. Used his body very well to fend off Fondy, who's actually giving up some inches tonight. Fondy is 6'1", but he's still a good 5 inches shorter than Slogic. He wound up using his defensive positioning well. Now in the box, Fondy, ball headed away by Rivera. Ball free, diving save made. Fondy had an opportunity.
Well, another great opportunity goes begging, really. I mean, he 8 yards out, and Charlotte turned the ball over again here.
And now Montoya, who wound up creating that turnover on the takeaway and a challenge on Jack Thompson, puts it in on net. And once again, Burner turned it aside.
And you can see Fondy's disappointment there. 8-10 yards out from goal, and real tame effort, dribbled it towards the goalkeeper when he had a lot of time and space there. Should really be doing better with those chances.
So it's been action-packed here, as both teams have not lacked for chances. 4 shots on net now for LCFC. But John Burner has turned them all away. Getting a foot to disrupt that crossing pass, Kadeem Dakers. Nonetheless, it's going to wind up with Meshach Jerome anyhow. Jerome plays it to the right, looking for Finley, just wide of him. Murad with a header. Goes over to McCabe, keeping it in play. Ribeiro, Thompson. Now it goes to Jerome. In the 37th minute, Charlotte playing its first ever Saturday night game. Patrick Slogic actually played for the Rochester Rhinos, who are another team that is undefeated right now in USL. One of the 4 undefeated squads. 2 of those teams, as we mentioned earlier, meeting tonight at City Stadium in Richmond. Richmond Kickers taking on Charleston Battery, a Charleston squad that has come out running. They also lead the Southern Derby after a win last Sunday against Wilmington. Ball in the box. Thompson tried to play it for Finley. That was taken away by Connor Shinosky. Now Ribeiro puts it in the box for Finley. Again, Shinosky disposes of that. This is Thompson. Back over to Finley. Quick touch. Herrera tried to get there, but Murad interceded in things. Back at midfield, Jerome.
And good little spell of possession here for Charlotte. Moving the ball well. Really, keeping Louisville City pressed in deep in their own half on the edge of their own box and looking, just patiently working the ball, working it in good wide areas. As we've got Martinez on the ball here in a 1v1 situation. Looks like he wins a corner for the Independents. Throw-in for the Independents.
Yep. It'll be a deep throw as he sent it off the foot of Brian Burke at a 1v1. Dakers realized where that was headed and quickly swung in. And now here's Ribeiro trying from distance, but it went off the body of Guzman. This is Fondy. Sloppy ball there. Look out. Hairston was run over that time by Enrique Montoya, and they're actually going to call the foul against Charlotte. And Hairston fouled him so hard, Hairston's still on his back. I have no idea what that official ruling is.
Interesting calling. They're calling for the physio on to get on here. Looks like Hairston maybe had the wind knocked out of him. I mean, he got into the challenge. He went in aggressively, pressed him up high, won the ball, and to me, it looked as though the Louisville player, continued to run through Hairston. But the referee must have seen it a different way.
I have no idea how that could be on Hairston. Could they be calling simulation here for a play that Hairston wound up getting clobbered on?
Oh,
he had his shoulder.
Yeah, and he's gone completely through Hairston. And
how is that not a booking?
Yeah, the referee. You have to ask the referee that one. Oh dear.
He was almost leading with his elbow.
Yeah. Yep.
Just an unreal call by referee Jeremy Smith. And Hairston is still down.
And Martinez and Herrera there just asking the question, how is it that Louisville City have the free kick and we don't?
Charlotte in disbelief, and Hairston may have to leave this game for good. Charlotte fans were upset about that, and there's almost a sense of silence because of disbelief more than anything else here as Hairston is hit with the foul, and they're checking on his jaw right now more than anything else as the Charlotte team trainer has come out to check on him.
Well, he may have caught the forearm at Montana there. As I don't think Montana intentionally went to lead with his forearm, but more so had it there for protection of himself as a player. It didn't look like he went through to elbow him as we have another look at it here. He gets there first. I mean, it's a forearm. It is across the jaw, but again, I think he just puts it there as to protect himself. I don't think it is malicious.
I have no idea how Hairston could be hit with the foul there. How do you get a foul on Hairston out of that?
Yeah, very interesting.
That is amazing. And several times over the course of the last few minutes, some Charlotte players have gone over to the assistant official, Kevin Roberts, who was parallel on the play, asking for some type of way he could overrule it.
Well, Finley's probably just asking for him to, speak to the referee, give him your opinion. You were 10 yards away from it, you saw it. You should be able to discuss that decision, and obviously they don't get the chance to see it 3 or 4 times like we do. But but even in real time, you see that Hairston got the ball first and really did just get clattered.
Well, Hairston has been on his back now for about 2 minutes, and he has not moved his legs. Tell you, you would think CONCACAF is in the house the way that call went. Sheesh. Well, that was an interesting one, and Hairston remains on his back here as there will be a lengthy amount of added time because of this injury. And Raphael Cox now, again, he is coming off the bench for the first time this year, and chances are he was going to be someone who was coming in the second half, but now he's going to have to make an appearance earlier than expected because of this injury created off a collision between Enrique Montoya for LCFC and Hairston, still flat up his back and just now being helped up, as you can see.
Well, it's good to see him sitting up. He maybe looks a little dazed there as the trainers are just checking his neck and again just asking him a few questions. There's the protocols that you go through with a player with head injury or dazed. You know, I wouldn't be surprised to see Cox come on now, which is a natural replacement for Hairston. I'm sure he's a left-footed player, so if he does come on, I would imagine that he'd slot in at left back, and Slogic would come across here to right back.
Can't make any assumptions about what the staff is looking at, but you'd have to think maybe concussion-related symptoms, maybe some of the things here, just early protocol.
Well, he's holding his neck again.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the forearm went into, and it did look like it go into that neck region. So,
let's take a look here at this once again. As again, Hairston was going for a loose ball, and
side of the jaw, side of the neck there. You know, a good forearm and straight through Hairston. As you see, he's thrown back into the ground quite violently, and it's good to see him, you know, walking off, you know, unassisted. So, you know, as we see Cox on the sideline now, so it does look like Hairston's night's over, unfortunately, for him in Independence. But he does look to be okay, which is a good thing.
So Raphael Cox will come in, and he will be the first of 5 substitutions that Charlotte has allowed in this game. Cox coming on now in place of Marlon Hairston. So here comes Cox, who is a native of Tacoma, Washington. And to show you another similarity between these two teams, it was Raphael Cox who played with Adam West, who is one of the LCFC starters. He is not playing tonight. Actually, Marlon Hairston, we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but Hairston is a former U of L Cardinal, as one of our listeners have watched and noticed and mentioned in the comments section. Well, we're in the 45th minute, but surely there'll be more added time here as Cox is in. Duckett heads away that ball as action resumes. Dakers swings in. And Cox is there to clear it away. Del Piccolo to Finley. Looks to come to the near sideline. Jorge Herrera now on the near side. He'll play it alongside, and it looks like Slogic has come into the game now as a cornerback, as Coach Jeffries has had to shuffle his arrangement because of the injury suffered by Hairston. They have Slogic now in the cornerback position in the area that Hairston was in. Thompson will have a throw in, as we'll have 5 minutes of extra time here. So plenty of time for both teams, and that's certainly expected considering how long Hairston went down. This is Ribeiro. Sloppy pass that time. Jerome commits the turnover. Dakers now charges back to the right. Del Piccolo tries to shut him down there. This is Rasmussen. Away to Burke. So Charlotte losing a valuable piece in Marlon Hairston, who again had done a fine job throughout the course of this game. Finley saves the ball in bounds to the far sideline. Clean strip away, and the takeaway that time by Burke. Here he comes, running wide strides to the far end against Andrew Ribeiro. Still with a long run down the right sideline. Ribeiro finally fins him off, cuts him off at the pass, and then sends it away to Duckett. Clock is stopped here as we have added time. Now a jostling match between Martinez and Shinosky, and the foul will be whistled, much to Shinosky's disgustment.
Well, I think the referee's really got to go to his pocket there to book Shinosky. You know, Alex Martinez does well to use his body to turn Shinosky, and he's away going to goal, and he's pulled him back, he's held him back when they're on the break there, really, and I do feel as though the referee should have booked Shinosky for that.
He didn't kick the ball away as well. Nice play by Herrera. Gets it to Finley. Tries to work it over Burke on the play. Can't do it. Thompson. Burke is there. Martinez swipes in to take it away, but then Burke strips him and sends it away Dakers. And then Dakers goes down. Also going down to the far end was, it appeared, Thompson.
Well, referee Jeremy Smith, it was just what I was talking about. You know, Dakers is breaking away for the Louisville City team. Cox brings him down and he books him. You go the other way, Martinez rolls his man. As you see, Martinez not happy with the fourth official here. He may be asking the question, the same foul was just, you know, made on him. He's breaking away. That Independent's breaking away. Shinovsky brings him down, but no yellow card. 30 seconds late, you turn around. Cox does the same thing, and he books him.
And so Cox picks up his first yellow and second yellow of the night. Louisville can't do anything there. Ribeiro swipes in to intercept, and then he gives it away. This is Rasmussen. Fondy back to Rasmussen. As we're in added time in a scoreless contest here tonight. Dakers plays it in the box. Fondy is there on the header, puts it just wide. Another golden opportunity set up well wide on the right side. Dakers laid it right in the box, but Fondy couldn't finish.
Another good chance. And, they teach you when you're attacking headers, right from the youth level, they teach you to head the ball down into the ground. And Fondy put that, a couple of yards wide open header. Great ball in by Dakers.
Absolutely.
Deep ball in by Dakers, in behind that back four. And another great chance falling to Fondy that goes begging.
Over the near sideline, Herrera couldn't save it. Louisville will get it back once again. So Fondy has had his chances tonight to add on to his goal total. Scored his first one last week. Ribeiro tying a shoe. Here was the excellent setup by Dakers once again.
Well, it's a great ball. It splits the centre back Jerome and Slogic, and again, he's not too far away, but you've got to start hitting the target and really heading that ball down aggressively into the ground.
John Bernard just looked back at the right crossbar almost helplessly, hoping that ball wouldn't find it, and his wishes were answered. Del Piccolo strips it away. Slogic plays it along to Thompson on the right side. Two Louisville players were right on him. There to take it away, Guzman, but then Slogic takes it away. Here's Herrera reaching into the box on the right foot. Finley is there, but the referee's flag on the near side was up for a justifiable offside.
Well, offside, or Herrera, inside the box there, you're willing him to shoot, maybe try to be too cute, one extra pass, maybe. If not having the confidence he may or should have, having missed a couple of good chances already. Try to find Finley with a little reverse pass, but obviously was in an offside position.
Goodwin sends away the goal kick. Dakers in a duel with Alex Martinez. Dakers goes down. Martinez takes the ball. He's jostled down without a call. And was a call. Check that.
As we take a look at Herrera, good touch with his left foot. It just opens up. All you need is a yard of space there to pull the trigger. And Charlotte Independents in the past have been aggressive in shooting, and it's a good idea. It's a nice idea to reverse pass, but really from 18, 17 yards out, your first thought should be, can I get a shot off on target?
Montano clears the ball away momentarily, but Thompson is there and then tripped up on the play. Montano, and the foul will be whistled against Jack Thompson as we're well into the 5 minutes of added time here.
Thompson's had a relatively quiet game tonight, in contrast to previous games where he's been on the ball and running at players and creating things. The ball has been going heavily down the left-hand side here as the referee, Jeremy Smith, blows for half-time.
And indeed, after a long extra time period, we have reached halftime here, and Louisville City and Charlotte scoreless here as both teams have had their chances. Louisville City with 6 corners over the first 25 minutes of the game, but Charlotte also had opportunities, namely from Jorge Herrera and Ryan Finley. But we have reached halftime here tonight, and at the half, Louisville City looking to remain undefeated. They have gone undefeated in its first 5 matches. Charlotte is looking for its first ever victory. Tonight, Independence and Louisville City at the half, and we are scoreless. We'll come back with more here from Transamerica Field as the sun is down and the fans can watch the second half in total comfort with no sun in their face. In Louisville City and Charlotte, we'll play the second half with LCFC and Independence scoreless here at the half. Jeff Hamlin, Jack Bundum here with you tonight from Transamerica Field in Charlotte. Charlotte Independence searching for its first win. Locked up with Louisville City scoreless at the half, but certainly it was not an uneventful half as Louisville City blasted 9 shots against goalkeeper Jack Burner. 4 of them went on net. Charlotte only had 1 shot on net, but they finished with 6 shots overall. Shots on goal, as you see there. Corners, all 6 of them for Louisville City came in the first 25 minutes. And as this game went on, the contest got a little more testy, particularly after Marlon Hairston went out of the game. Charlotte had 2 bookings, one to Paulo Del Piccolo, and later on one to Raphael Cox, who checked in for Marlon Hairston, and 2 offsides called against Independence as well. Taking a look at the opportunities here, first of all, Charlotte had an opportunity early on from Ryan Finley. As he jostled away with Tariq Murad, Scott Goodwin came up and managed to deflect it with his right foot, and Jorge Herrera on the rebound blasted it over the crossbar. That came about 5 minutes in. And then it was Naleel McCabe here from distance. John Burner had to race up, and Jackie managed to get a hand on this one. This was no easy save.
Yeah, good strike by McCabe. Found himself in 5 or 10 yards of space, and they've been willing to shoot from distance.
And speaking of which, Kadeem Diakers has been very active for Louisville City as he blasted a shot there, and then he raced in, trying to put it on net, but he put it just wide to the left of Burner off to that gorgeous cross there put forth by Brian Burke. This was Charlotte's best chance right here. Alex Martinez penetrated in and then blasted a shot that was just deflected wide, and then moments after that, 2 opportunities. Martinez put a ball in the box. Jorge Herrera had 2 separate chances at it, and it wound up going off the body of Finley after Goodwin got a piece of the first one, and it just trickled wide right, and it stayed in play. And this is the collision that we talked about, really was the most talked about play, the collision there between Enrique Montoyo and Marlon Hairston of Charlotte, and Hairston actually was called for the foul here, even though he left the game and may have suffered a concussion. We have yet to hear an official reason, official injury. And this was Fondy's opportunity after another gorgeous cross by Dakers. Matt Fondy had several opportunities to add on to his goal total. He is the leading shooter on this team, as you would imagine, for Louisville City with 14 shots coming into the game. That places him 7th in USL. But he's only had 1 go for a goal this season, although he had several opportunities in that first half. So we are locked up here, scoreless, in what was an eventful first half, and the sun has gone down here, and the sun now firmly behind the trees off in the distance here in the campus of UNC Charlotte, Jack, and that's going to help both sides here. You have to think that after Louisville lost the coin toss, they chose their end of the field for a reason, because Charlotte was basically going into the sun there, and you could see at various points Charlotte players having to look to see exactly where they were passing the ball. And now that the sun is no longer a factor, that's going to help both teams.
Yeah, well, hopefully the Charlotte Independents will be able to find their attacking midfielders and forwards a little bit more often than they did in the first half. I thought Jack Thompson was very quiet. Jorge Herrera, apart from the 2 good chances that he had, was also pretty quiet. And you know, when you found those guys on the ball, the Del Piccolos, the Jack Thompsons, the Martinez, and Jorge Herrera, Charlotte Independents did create chances and create opportunities, find each other in space. So they'll be looking to do that again this half. Charlotte obviously looking to be a little bit more clinical. I mean, you really could say that the game could be 2-2 or even 3-3. You know, there's been some great chances. And like you say, this Louisville City team is, you know, defensively very strong and conceded few goals. So it's important that when the Independents do get those chances, that they do put them on target and do take them.
Well, it's been the theme of the season really for Charlotte, is missed opportunities, particularly missed shots and an inability to finish, and that's the reason why Charlotte is near the bottom of USL in scoring, as the team has managed to score multiple goals in a game just once this season, and that was in the opener against Charleston Battery. They scored 1 against the Wilmington Hammerheads the week after that in the 1-1 draw out by the coast. Then came a shutout loss against the Richmond Kickers, and last week the 1-1 draw against Harrisburg City. So Louisville City will start off with the ball, and of course they're a stingy team, as we told you, defensively, giving up just 3 goals in its first 5 games. and they've averaged 7 corner kicks a contest, and they already have 6 here at the half. Charlotte still looking for its first one. LCFC will start the second half with the ball. Keep in mind, Raphael Cox is in the game now for Marlon Hairston, who had to check out after that collision with Enrique Montayo. Del Piccolo now at midfield. Wins the duel. Charlotte looks now to pounce and score the first goal of this contest. Del Piccolo runs along the near sideline, goes down, but it's going to be ruled a throw-in as no foul is whistled by referee Jeremy Smith. Del Piccolo really has been the man going midfield box to midfield box, and he's been really a spark plug for Charlotte all evening long, trying to get something going offensively. A long throw, Fondy will take it, with Mishak Jerome pressuring him, nearly creating a turnover. Burke keeps possession on the right back. Bilal Duckett lets it go past him. Jerome takes back over. And springing up the field now is Patrick Slogic. He looks for the long ball for Ryan Finley, but that one's headed away. Goodwin comes out of net to put it away. Charlotte coming in 0-2-2 in this game after a draw last week against Harrisburg City. At the half tonight, Harrisburg City is leading Wilmington 1-0. That's out in Pennsylvania. Here's Rasmussen the other way, trying to get it to Kadeem Akers, but it's kicked away by Duckett. Volleyed up the field by Thompson. Burke will race back, sends it away to Goodwin. The UNC product who grew up in Raleigh will give it away to number 6, Tariq Murad, the California native, up the field. Mishak Jerome, Slogic, Del Piccolo. Now Alex Martinez fights to keep it in bounds. Rasmussen, the native of Norway, comes in to take it away. Charlotte winds up with it back. Here's Patrick Slogic up the field. Again looking for Finley, and again too far. And this is the pattern we've seen from Independence during the second halves of games this season, Jack. When they've created something in the first half, the opposing team has managed to make an adjustment in its formation, and therefore Charlotte is relegated to a long ball strategy that they aren't equipped for.
Yeah, that was evident in the game last week against Harrisburg, and they came out and switched things. Hopefully, it looks like the teams have come out the same way in this first half, and we talked about Louisville being strong defensively, and I think it's not just the back 4-5 with the goalkeeper. It is the complete team. That they have a lower line of pressure and they look to press the ball through the midfield with a lot of numbers behind the ball. In fact, all 11 players behind the ball, allowing the back 4 to play. So, like I say, when Independents do get those chances, they've really got to be a little bit, hopefully can be clinical this second half and get themselves ahead.
Kadeem Akers trying to create something off the dribble. Jack Thompson erases that threat. Jorge Herrera takes the ball up the field now. Herrera with some open space momentarily, but Rasmussen came in to disrupt that. Del Piccolo. Martinez with a nice touch. Finley has an opportunity in the box. Just whistled it wide.
Well, great chance for Independence. It was a lovely little flick around the corner from Alex Martinez to find Finley, who was playing on the shoulder of the defender, and he struck it well across the keeper and just a couple inches wide there of the far hand goalpost.
And we talked about Charlotte being relegated to a long ball strategy, but there was nothing long there. Just some nifty touches put forth by Alex Martinez. Finley couldn't quite tuck it home. Mishak Jerome making his Charlotte debut tonight to Patrick Slogic, who has played in every Independence game thus far. Came off the bench last week against Harrisburg City. Del Piccolo. Thompson goes down without a call. Del Piccolo lines up with it again. Stays on his feet. Again goes down. Again no call. Here's Guzman back the other way. The longtime Charlotte Eagle plays it for Dakers down the right side. He'll charge in against Raphael Cox. Near side, here's Burke. He's dangerous with the cross, puts it in, but Del Piccolo's there to put it away. Cox there, trying to clear it with his right foot, cannot, but it goes out of bounds, off Guzman, and he'll go over to Independence on a throw. Here's another opportunity again for Finley. It was good pressure put on by Connor Shinosky late to adjust that shot. Otherwise, it would have been a clear angle that time for Finley. and that might have broken the scoreless tie. At midfield, Andrew Ribeiro playing center back tonight,
Be sure to visit the new USL Soccer
away from his usual wing position,
the latest news and live stats and
right back with it the other way.
media hub. That's USLsoccer.com.
Here's Neil McCabe, who had a late opportunity in the first half and some open field to work with, only to be shut down by Meshach Jerome. Now Burke, who assisted on the goal last week, the only goal scored by Louisville City aside from the own goal that the Tulsa Roughnecks put in late in the contest. It was Burke sending it over to Matt Fondy, who headed it home in the first half on a rainy day in Louisville Slugger Stadium. Jerome tries to wait till that ball crosses the end line and ultimately does, and John Berner will have a goal kick. Berner credited with 4 saves in that first half. He has 11 saves on the season. That actually ties his season high that he had against Charleston Battery on opening night back in March. Berner with the goal kick. Tariq Moran, the native of Chino Hills, California, played at UC Irvine. Scored 3 goals and 2 assists for Irvine when they made the 2011 NCAA tournament, where they were eliminated in the second round by St. Mary's. He sent it away to Burke, who controls it now. Here's Shinosky. Long ball in. Slogic is there to head away. Berner takes it back in the 52nd minute. Top 6 teams in the Eastern Conference make the playoffs, and that's why this game is important for Independence right now, because they're in 13th place. The only team that's below them is FC Montreal. And while on the subject of Montreal soccer, congratulations to Montreal Impact on a fantastic run in the CONCACAF Champions League that ended on Wednesday night when they lost to Club America, another championship for the most decorated team from Mexico. But it was some crowd at Olympic Stadium, over 60,000 on hand, as the Impact really for a few days controlled the sports world at a time when the Montreal Canadiens are making another deep run in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It was Montreal Impact dominating the sports world of soccer in a hockey nation. That would have been the first major professional sports championship in Montreal since 1993, when the Canadiens defeated the Los Angeles Kings, but the Impact came up just a little bit short in the second half. Dakers tries to control the ball, does so, looks to move in on Cox. Now here's Burke on the overlap, and another fine ball by Dakers. Adams with the cross, and whiffing on it that time was Neil McCabe coming into the box. Charlotte now with a counterattack. Here's Martinez drifting it back. Fine ball control. Up the field, Jorge Herrera is there. Charlotte with numbers. Herrera goes in, tries to leave it for Finley. That was disrupted by Shinosky. Now Cox comes on, trying to maintain possession. Puts on the cross, but left it just a tad high for Finley. Ball still in play. Martinez will race down, trying to save possession. And he does. Here's Martinez. Chip in by Slogic. Cox will come on the overlap to maintain possession. Cox looked for the cross, and Dakers puts it over the sideline.
Well, Independence, went from their own defensive penalty area. Dockett getting a really important toe on a cross there to stop Louisville from a good chance, and then create a great one of their own, breaking quickly with numbers.
Del Piccolo with the cross there went over Finley's head. Guzman plays it up the field for Fondy. Jerome there to pressure him, and we have a foul called against Fondy. Quite Belial Duckett that time was the man who drew it. Fondy can't believe that one. And Fondy still has something to say with referee Jeremy Smith about it. You see Fondy wearing the captain's armband tonight. A veteran who played with Chivas USA and the Chicago Fire in MLS for a brief amount of time. In his 5th season as a pro. Scored 10 goals in 10 games in his first season in USL back in 2013 with the Los Angeles Blues. And now we have our first Louisville substitution.
Exiting the game, number 16, Nate Pollock.
Nate Pollock is going out of the game. Here's the long ball. Herrera puts it in, goes in, and it just goes wide. Racing for it, Martinez, but he put it, that was Ribeiro who put his long frame in front of the ball, but he couldn't quite get it in.
Great delivery by Herrera, and that's what he is good at. He's a very great technical player. He just puts it into an area there in and around the front post, and it was flicked on, unfortunately, for the Independence not on target.
Excuse me, they're in the 11th place is Independence, not 13th. Fondy with the header that goes out. So Pollock has gone out of the game for Louisville City. Charlotte will take the ball back.
For exclusive league news and interactive content, check out the USL on Facebook today.
Yes, that's right. Our producer, Ryan Brown, reminds us that Montreal's victory in 1993 over the Los Angeles Kings, the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup. They've come close a few times. Edmonton, of course, nearly beat the Carolina Hurricanes, but that's on the ice. We're on the grass tonight. Good side ball here as Thompson put it in play. Finley couldn't get it. Herrera's there. Now Martinez again, but he with that one way wide.
Well, good delivery by Jack Thompson. We saw Fondy with Dakers with a similar ball in the first half for Louisville, and Fondy headed over. This time didn't quite find Finley. Goodwin coming out and punching well for Louisville and clearing the pressure. But I don't mind that from Jack Thompson. I'd like to see him get in the game a little bit more often. And if you're in crossing positions, shooting positions, let's take those chances and try and create goal scoring opportunities from where we can on the field.
Absolutely, because it's one area that Charlotte has not been shy about trying this year. They've had high scoring, high chance opportunities in this game tonight. Dakers tries to play it alongside to McCabe, but it goes out of bounds, and McCabe wound up touching it last. In the 57th minute, and though Louisville City got off to a much more solid start, really controlled the first 20 minutes of this game, notching 5 shots early on, Charlotte has played with them evenly here over the last 20 minutes or so in this game. Elijah Illick is in the game for Louisville City. He's the one who replaced Nate Pollock a moment ago. Illick is a native of Belgrade, Serbia, a rookie, just 22 years old. He did play in the Premier Development League of USL with the Alcoa Stampede last season. Now we have a Louisville City player down. Play continues. Cox trying to shut off that long ball attempt, and Duckett will send it out of play.
Yeah, Cox showing good recovery speed there to get back, and he's playing against Dacre, who made some good strong runs in the first half. But Cox looks like he's matched up well against Dacre there with his pace.
It was Enrique Montayo who was injured.
Yellow card has been issued against the Independents.
Oh, we have a bookie
Jorge Herrera.
against Jorge Herrera. So Herrera takes a yellow, and that will be his first yellow card of the season. Here's Burke on the overlap. McCap for Burke, and Slogic heads it out, and this will be the 7th quarter of the night coming up here for LCFC. Let's take a look at this yellow here for Herrera. It might have just been ongoing chatter with referee Jeremy Smith that led to it, and you saw what Jorge felt about that one.
Louisville City corner kick.
So the corner goes to the far end. Rasmussen is out there, along with Guzman, the native of Charlotte. Rasmussen fakes it. Guzman will trigger it in. Comes in on net. Slogic heads it away. Finley sends it on its way. Montano is there. Aims it to the near sideline. Here it comes to Shinosky, who's in there at a 4 position after the set piece. Now Burke sends in another long-range cross. That's tucked away by Berner, and he'll send it up the field for Alex Martinez. As we're in the 60th minute now, 30 minutes to play tonight, and Charlotte still looking for its first goal in this game and its first win of the season. Raphael Cox, the only substitute that has come in thus far in the contest. Both teams still have 4 substitutions to make, if they so desire. Herrera tried to get that ball in from Duckett, couldn't. McCabe is there. Sweeps in. Del Piccolo tries to win back possession. Ball goes off Martinez out of bounds. Martinez didn't think so and started to throw it in, but referee signaled Louisville ball. Next week we'll be over in Rock Hill, South Carolina, where Charlotte will take on the Richmond Kickers. Right now they're among the top teams in the Eastern Conference table. One of 4 undefeated teams in USL, and all 4 undefeated teams are in the Eastern Conference, and 2 of them playing tonight at City Stadium in Richmond. And Richmond, at last word, led Charleston Battery 1-0 at the half. Raphael Cox, man who played with Harrisburg City last season, sends it away to Duckett, and his long ball stretched up the field for Martinez was 2-4. Shinoski heads it away to midfield. Guzman is there, and the Charlotte product tries to play for Dakers. Poor touch. There to get it is Thompson, the man who scored the first goal in Independence history. Now Del Piccolo to Finley, outside the box, looks to move in. Plays it for the left for Thompson. His cross for Del Piccolo is wide. It's intercepted by Montano and out of play.
Fantastic ball in by Jack Thompson there. You know, he puts it in the area in between the back 4 and goalkeeper, right on that 6-yard box. And for an independent coach, Jeff would be looking for Finley or Herrera, Del Piccolo to just make a positive run, get across the defender there. And I mean, if they do that, it's a goal and it's 1-0 Independence.
This is Ribeiro, who's not playing at a standard center back position tonight. Thompson will play the long ball in. Martinez and Herrera were in the neighborhood, but it was headed out by Shinoski. And now Rasmussen got in a shoving match with Herrera. No foul. Fondy plays it alongside for McCabe. Now Dakers will take over. Moves in on Cox. Oh, excellent first touch. Here's Dakers from distance, but Cox blocked it. Now a shot from distance, and that goes well wide. But you have to credit Raphael Cox for disrupting that play.
Yeah, he got back well there. It was a good touch with Dakers inside with his first touch on his chest, and the goal opened up. But again, Cox's pace allows him to recover and get the block that shot there, which was looked to be on target.
Kadeem Dakers started out playing at a community college near his home in Rosedale, New York, and wound up transferring. He completed his college career at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Montano sends the ball off Martinez out of bounds to the far end. So far, we have not seen Enzo Martinez check into the game. Martinez has played in every contest for Independence. Martinez takes over after a loose ball here. Finley away. Herrera will fire from distance. Deflected, and it goes off the crossbar. Hits something on the way in. Made it dangerous for Goodwin. Herrera gets it back. Herrera plays it for Thompson now. Moves to the left. Jack Thompson still with it. Trying to muscle off the ball. Plays it in. Herrera with a chance. A shot. It's deflected just wide.
Well, the ball just won't go in the back of the net for Jorge Herrera. He's hit the post, the crossbar, and good block on the line there, I think it was, by one of the Louisville central defenders. I don't think Herrera can quite believe how he hasn't managed to put his name on the score sheet tonight.
Jorge is cursed. Fans upset about the call to the near side as Thompson was boxed in by 2 players trying to do something with it, and ultimately Burke forced the ball off Thompson on the near sideline, much to the chagrin of Jack's militia, as you saw several members of the crowd upset over the call. That would have brought the house down, a goal right in front of Jack's militia that would have given Charlotte a second half lead. Instead, boy, Herrera, he's got to feel like he's jinxed. He's put it all over the place tonight. Charlotte has set up some excellent attempts. Now Del Piccolo to Finley. Ball goes over his head. Montano trying to track him down from behind Murad. But Thompson and Finley stay after it. Ball goes out of bounds. And it's going to be the first corner of the night for Charlotte. And with that, we're going to have a substitution. Going to take a look at this again here. Herrera, we're going to try to find where this ball was deflected. It might have been Finley. Nope, it looked like it went off Murad. And Herrera is going to go out of the game. And let's see who checks in for him here. First of all, we'll have the corner.
Independent substitution.
Here's the corner coming to the right side. Del Piccolo gets a head on it. Ball still free in the box. And it's kicked away quickly by Guzman.
Looks like
now the call goes back in. Slots it with a chance. Goal! try by the sword. Patrick Slogic scores his first goal for Charlotte Independence, and Charlotte has the lead.
Well, it's brought this crowd into it, and you see the Jackson Militia there bouncing up and down as Slogic ran off to celebrate with them. And it's been coming really, the last 5 or 10 minutes, they've really been knocking at the door. They've had a good couple of chances. Obviously, Herrera hit the bar 2 minutes before that. Louisville defenders were asking for offside. The keeper was adamant, Goodwin was adamant that Slogic was in offside, but the flag didn't come and Independence are 1-0 up.
So Patrick Slogic, the graduate of Cornell, gets the goal. The man who played for Rochester Rhinos, and it was Enzo Martinez who had just checked in who gets the assist. And back at the other end, Fondi gets a corner after a ball goes out of bounds off of Duckett, and it was Enzo Martinez who triggered this goal here. It was Herrera who wound up with the corner, and then Enzo Martinez, who checked in just a moment ago, sent in a gorgeous ball, and Slogic headed it in off a set piece, and the center back winds up with the first shot and the first goal of the night on his first shot. Now the corner leads to nothing at the other end for Louisville City. And for Charlotte, it is going to be a long 23 and a half minutes.
Yeah, well, hopefully, Jeff, they don't sit back. They've got to continue to press the ball. They've got to continue to attack with numbers and really go after the second goal. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Jeffrey's still pushing his team on to create chances, take chances. The last thing they want to do now is just soak up pressure and defend for the last 23 minutes. They really remain positive, get those fullbacks forward, continue to shoot when you've got the chance to, and continue to put the ball in behind that Louisville central defender.
So it was Enzo Martinez with the assist, and he was the one who checked in just a moment ago. Jorge Herrera is still in the game, correction to what I said earlier. And here's the ball going down the far end of the field, but Slogic, the man who scored the goal, now strips it away.
Yeah, it was Jack
from Neil McCabe.
It was Jack Thompson that came off.
It was Jack Thompson who came off, and once again, a gorgeous ball by Enzo Martinez.
Yeah, great ball, and he puts it again. He catches the Louisville defenders, coming out of the box as Slogic makes that run from a slightly deeper position and leaves him in a 1v1 situation, and the big man puts it away very well.
Well, Slogic is a defensive-minded player. He was the Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year in 2013, a 3-time All-Ivy first-team selection, but he was no more for his clearances than for his headers into the net. But there, he wound up making his offensive presence felt, and it's put Charlotte ahead. And this is the longest time in a game that Charlotte has ever led in a contest. Louisville City wants to change that. Brian Burke with a cross near side that's headed right back out quickly by Bilal Duckett. And it will be another LCFC corner. And with that, we're going to have another substitution, it would appear.
Louisville FC corner kick taken by number
Going to have,
Magnus Rasmussen.
looks like Caleb Calvert checking in here for Charlotte. So this is really more of an offensive substitution more than anything else. So perhaps Mike Jeffries is anticipating something. Rasmussen puts the ball in play. Burke races in, cross foot, has a chance, puts forth the cross, leads to nothing. And with that, we will have the substitution coming in as it goes over the end line. And this is Caleb Calvert coming in. Let's see who he replaces. It's going to be number 9 leaving the game. So Ryan Finley will check out, and Caleb Calvert will check in.
Yeah, it's a straight swap for Coach Jeffries there, bringing in Calvert. And he did come on against Harrisburg City Islanders last week in this sort of same time, 75th minute, 80th minute, and he did very well. He held the ball up for the Independents, and he'll be looking to do that again tonight. Finley really hasn't had the chances tonight that we may have, would have hoped for. He scored a great goal last week. But again, he's worked really, really hard for the Independents. He's run, that back four ragged. He's run the lines, and I'm sure he'll be happy, and Coach Sheffield will be happy with his work rate this evening.
Well, Caleb Calvert has played in all 5 games, and in every game he has come off the bench. So this is his standard protocol. Collision at midfield leads to no whistle. And then Burke sends it over the sideline. Charlotte will take back over on a throw. Time and time again, Burke is the man with the ball for Louisville City. And he's trying to get that long ball all night to Fondy, and you feel like Fondy has had his best chances come and go in this game. Knock on wood. Enzo Martinez, ball stripped away by Dakers from behind. Rasmussen winds up with it. Here's Guzman trying to play it along. Fondy takes over. Dakers now to the near sideline. Cox pounces on him. Guzman is there once again. Makes a move in the 71st minute. Charlotte with the lead off the header by Patrick Slogic, his first professional goal. Now from distance, trying to work it in and unable to do anything with it is number 14, Elijah Ijic for Louisville City, who checked in late last week in their victory over Tulsa. So Charlotte threatening to hand Louisville City its first loss. This is technically an expansion team, even though the team was transferred from Orlando City. New owners purchased the franchise rights to the team, but this is an expansion team, and they've started as well as you can. 2-0-3, but Charlotte threatening to give them their first loss. Louisville City trying to find the equalizer. Tariq Murad plays it for Guzman, the defensive midfielder. Janoski looking for Fondy once again, but a fine duel, and Bilal Duckett wound up winning that duel. Now Fondy goes down, and it's going to be a foul called against Duckett just outside of the box.
Yeah, and the referee's going to his pocket. He's going to book Duckett here.
Oh.
Duckett did let him slip around the wrong side of him, going towards the byline, and knew exactly where he was on the field, just outside the 18-yard box, and decided to bring him down as we take a look at it here. Yeah, just switched off, manages to get the ball ahead of him. I mean, it's a smart foul, really, from Duckett. I mean, the guy is going towards the byline in a very, very dangerous position, decides to allow his teammates to come back, get organised, and try and defend this set piece.
So Elijah Illick drew the foul in a dangerous place just outside the box.
Louisville City has the free kick.
Chatting about it is Illick and Guzman. Guzman, the native of Charlotte, stands outside. Rasmussen puts it in on net, and it's knocked away by Burner. Excellent save.
Yeah, good strong hand. He's telling his team to focus, get organised quickly. Ball was whipped in with a bit of pace, and he made the right decision, the safe decision, just to put that over his bar for a corner.
Out some shot by Rasmussen at an odd angle. Illick comes in off the corner, triggered in by McCabe. It is knocked out of bounds by Alex Martinez. And here comes another corner. This will be the 10th of the night for Louisville City. McCabe triggers it in again. Header is on, and it just goes over the crossbar. Illick was in the neighborhood going after it. Couldn't put it on net. Let's take a look at this once again here. Wow, that was a screen put forth.
Yeah, he did well, because the Louisville defender there got up in front of him, and he just managed to get 2 fingertips on it and push the ball over the bar. Good save.
Looked like that Burke was in the area, and his 6'2" frame was right in the way of John Burner. That was fine play by John, and that will go down as a really underrated save. Perhaps a candidate for the USL Save of the Week. Not a diving, sprawling attempt, but one that preserves the lead here for Charlotte Independence, trying to gain its first victory. In the 74th minute, Rasmussen plays it ahead. Illick, Guzman, now Dakers. Dakers looks for the take on with Cox. He'll charge right into the box, taken down, and a foul called. Another one just outside of the box, and another golden opportunity here for Louisville.
Well, it's a dangerous position to give away a free kick. The Louisville were running into traffic there. Enzo Martinez doesn't really need to, try and attempt to win that ball. As you take a look here.
See Dakers move in. Enzo Martinez.
Yeah, he's running into traffic there. Let him show him into your defenders. Let them apply the pressure on the edge of the box. Good chance.
Rasmussen will put it in. It winds up going off the wall. Rasmussen gathers it back. Slogic, who scored the goal, knocked that one down. Burke. Montana. Into the box. Burner puts a right cross to it. Dakers will take it down. Looks to charge in on Ribeiro. Now Dakers against Del Piccolo was looking for a foul. Nothing came. And that time Del Piccolo did an excellent job of just standing his ground. And it leads to a goal kick here, as Charlotte is a quarter hour away from its first win.
Well, Jorge Herrera here, I think, is remonstrating to the referee that Dacre was diving really and wants a booking. He just needs to be careful because Jorge Herrera is also on a yellow card.
And we'll have another substitution here for Charlotte. This will be its fourth, and this is going to be Jack Metcalf checking in for Jorge Herrera. Well, Jorge just shaking his head coming off the field. He did his part tonight to create opportunities after it appeared that Charlotte was really overmatched to begin this game.
Well, he's had a good game, Jorge Herrera. I think Coach Jeffries might realize that he is close to maybe a second yellow card, and obviously results in the red card and brought him off. Jorge Herrera, he's had a good game. I think he'll be disappointed that he hasn't managed to get himself on the score sheet tonight, because he did have 2 or 3 good opportunities,
particularly early here in the second half. Ribeiro. So Metcalf is on here, the man who went to Clemson, is on trying to ride this 15-minute wave and lead Charlotte to a victory and an elusive 3 points. Cox with the corner. Martinez is there, winds up on the feet of Finley, but he has it, or excuse me, Calvert, but it's stripped away from him, Del Piccolo. Now Cox sends it away to Metcalf. Charlotte maintains possession. Ribeiro looking for Del Piccolo, but the pass went awry. Burke is there to intercept it. Now Ribeiro swipes in. Caleb Calvert is there to take it back. Here comes Enzo Martinez from distance, but it'll go wide left.
Good chance, just snatched at his shot a little bit and didn't quite catch it right, dragging it just past the right-hand post.
Charlotte has one more substitution that they can make as Cox, Enzo Martinez, Caleb Calvert, and now Jet Metcalf have come off the bench. Here, Duckett sends it out of bounds. Or excuse me, that was Jerome.
Yeah, he's had a very good game up to this point. Hopefully he can close the gap. He's been solid defensively, as you see there. He's not taking any chances. He puts the ball into the crowd. He's been strong all night. He's won his headers. He's won his 50-50 tackles, and he's played out well from the back.
That time, Brian Burke tried to play the cross. Metcalf had that one go off his head, and it goes on to the belt track here at UNC Charlotte. Quick play back for Burke with Metcalf marking him. A couple of players spilled to the turf, and they rule it went off Del Piccolo. It was a stellar outing tonight, Jack, for Jorge Herrera, and it's been a very good game for Meshach Jerome in his debut. Now Ildi. From distance, Murad, going for his first goal, had that one blocked away by Alex Martinez. Murad back, plays the cross for Burke. He gathers it in, bounces off his chest. Metcalf is there to take it back, and it goes off Burke out of bounds. In the 79th minute, and in one of the most active sports weekends that you can find, a very good crowd has assembled tonight here at Transamerica Field. They may be witnesses to history. Dakers over the end line. It'll be a goal kick. So Berner comes on, and now we have, looks like Fondy and Berner perhaps trading words, and that brought in Jeremy Smith.
Well, Berner's just trying to kill a little bit of clock. He's moved the ball. He's taking his time to take the goal kick, and the referee's just letting him know that if he continues to do that, he will put him in the book.
That's right. We've already seen several in the book tonight for Charlotte. Header put on by Caleb Calvert. Enzo Martinez tried to get it. Instead, it's Alex Martinez there. Plays it for his brother, Alex, to Enzo. Couldn't work it free. Shinosky broke it up. Winds up with Rasmussen. Now to the far end, some fancy footwork ahead. That time by Neil McCabe. McCabe wins the throw into the far side. As we go to the 80th minute now. Time running out on LCFC and their 5-game unbeaten streak. Fondy with a long ball ahead. Berner races out of net to tuck it away.
Nike is a proud sponsor of the USL. Be sure to follow at Nike
So now in the 80th minute here, John Berner has a bit of a load on his back. Up the field, Enzo Martinez, and we have a foul called as Calvert went down. And the foul was whistled there against Shinoski. And then the long ball ahead for Martinez off the quick restart, just a tad too far, and Scott Goodwin came out of net to play it alongside. 10 corners in the game for Louisville City. Only one really resulted in a serious scoring threat, and that was the shot that came down a moment ago. And then they had 2 free kicks just outside the box. Long ball ahead, Dakers couldn't catch up with it, and then Fondy wound up tugging down 15 Belisle Duckett. And it's going to be a free kick here for Independence.
Independence have defended those corners well. They've set up well. They've had Slogic in there at the front post, who's dealt with most of the Louisville corners. Rasmussen's been a bit disappointing with his delivery, especially that free kick on the edge of the box about 10 minutes ago. But obviously Coach Jeffries worked on defending those set pieces after conceding the equaliser last week 2-1.
Long ball ahead. Caleb Calvert heads it in the air. Guzman, Illick, away to Rasmussen. That results in a race to the far side as McCabe couldn't quite keep it in play, or at least keep it away from an Independence player. Montano to the far end of the field and unable to control it, McCabe. And Charlotte gets a little bit closer now as we approach the 83rd minute. Jack's Militia with the flags waving higher than ever here tonight. You see the teal and the navy blue, as well as the American flag. They've waited over a month now for a win. They're getting closer and closer. Brian Burke can end that with a good cross. He's had several tonight. As you see, Jack's Militia standing and watching. They've been a faithful group as a foul is whistled here to the far end against Enzo Martinez. Another one drawn by Nail McCabe. Man who went to college in Young Harris, Georgia, an NAIA school. Here's Shinoski. Ball goes into the box, going after it, Fondy, and he couldn't quite get enough on it to put it on net, and it goes over the end line. Enzo once again hit with this foul as McCabe drew it, and he raked him right across the feet. Charlotte fans continue to make noise here tonight. Berner with the goal kick. Looking for the ball. Ribeiro tries to win possession. Ball sent up the field. Fondy trying to win a race. And he put enough pressure on Duckett that Duckett has to concede the throw-in to the near side in the Louisville City third. Coming up on about 5.5 minutes remaining now. And we have another substitution. This will be the second. Brian Burke will go off the field for Louisville City. And we'll see who's coming in. This is going to be number 15 coming in here. This is Sean Reynolds making an appearance. Native of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. The 24-year-old checks in. And Reynolds, in fact, is going to trigger this throw in. A long one. Fondy has it go in on net. Two Charlotte players were there to tangle him up. Up the field. Here's Calvert to Enzo Martinez, who steps over the feet of Rasmussen. Then he's pushed down from behind without a whistle, but Martinez maintains possession. Up the field for his brother Alex Martinez. But there to knock it away was Rasmussen, out of bounds. And that was some fine play by Enzo Martinez there to maintain possession, even though he might have been fouled. Enzo Martinez there going for the loose ball. Louisville City wins it. And here comes Sean Reynolds, who just checked into the game. Guzman going for Rasmussen now. Left side crossover by Shinosky. Plays it up the field, and it goes to McCabe. This is Shinosky. Plays it away for Dakers, who's had several good runs in this contest tonight. Long run up the field, and unable to save it is McCabe. Did he save it for just a throw in? No, it's going to be a goal kick. As we come up on 86 minutes, and we'll see how much time will be added on here.
There's not been that many stoppages, has there?
Not really, just had the goal, had a couple of bookings.
Yep.
Had some substitutions as well. Louisville City has had a couple. Charlotte has had 3 in this half, and they have only 1 more remaining in the game. Their first came when Hairston left the game because of injury, was replaced by Raphael Cox. And here's the man who scored the goal for Charlotte, Patrick Stojic. Martinez. Alex Martinez looks to play it for Enzo Martinez, but that attempt is taken away, as it was Tariq Murad coming over. Now Sean Reynolds looks up the field for Dakers. Cox tries to shield Dakers from the ball, but Kadeem nearly won it, got a foot on it. Metcalf is there to play it alongside for Calvert. Reynolds races in to take it back. Louisville City with possession. The Charlotte native, Guzman, goes to the far end of the field. It goes to Montano. Now to Murad in the 87th minute now. And his long ball looked like he and McCabe were on different pages, and it goes over the end line. And Patrick Slogic just watched that one go over the end line. And he could be the man of the match. Could be the man that gives Charlotte its first ever victory after his goal, as we're in the 88th minute now.
Yeah, Berner really just taking his time, and Louisville players asking the referee to hurry him up. And Charlotte Independence really trying to slow the game down now and just kill it off here in the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Jack's Militia sounding and making their presence felt more than ever now. Berner with an errant goal kick, though, and that's going to give possession back to Louisville City. Shinosky to Murad. Looks for Montano. Murad will carry it over the midfield line. That's where Enzo Martinez catches up with him. Winds up momentarily with McCabe, but he had it stripped away by Del Piccolo. Now coming way out of net is Goodwin. He sends a fly ball up the field. And we have the offside flag put up by assistant referee Kevin Roberts. And it's going to be a free kick, as it appeared that Fondy was the man offside there. As we're in the 89th minute, we'll get word in just a second about added time here. It can't go by quick enough for head coach Mike Jeffries for Charlotte Independence. He's waited a long time for a victory. This team did have a victory during exhibition season against the Carolina Railhawks. That was about 6 weeks ago. That was over in Cary, and of course it didn't count in the standings. This one will. And we have a foul whistled against Caleb Calvert, and staying down for a lengthy amount of time is Sean Reynolds, who just checked into the game. As we are now coming up on the 90th minute. And Reynolds being checked on by Caleb Calvert. And it looks like that he's going to have to leave the game.
Yeah, may have caught an elbow to the side of the face there, maybe the eyebrow. Little cut there, but he seems to be bleeding quite heavily from the right-hand side of his face.
Well, keep in mind, Louisville City started this game shorthanded as it was, because they have one player, Charlie Adams, who's suspended after a red card last week, and then they had Adam West stay in Louisville because of a minor injury he suffered this week in training. So they don't have many players to choose from remaining on the bench. It was an elbow to the face by Calvert that caught Reynolds there, and so Reynolds leaves, and 3 minutes of stoppage time.
Louisville City substitution.
So Reynolds leaves the game. Shinosky with a long ball up the field. Have a player not on our roster for Louisville City that has checked into the game. We'll get on that in just a second. Here's the ball coming to the near side. Dakers tries to win the race with Cox. Dakers, good first touch, but Cox clears it away. 3 minutes of added time, as we mentioned just a moment ago.
Game for Louisville City on that substitution was number 15, Sean Reynolds.
Here's Dakers. Along the near sideline, 2 players on him. Calvert collides with one of his own men. Ball free for just a second. Martinez plays it alongside. Back comes Charlotte. And then we have a foul at midfield. Enzo Martinez was tripped up. Enzo started to quickly put the ball in the play, and then Paulo Del Piccolo looked at him like, what are you doing?
Relax, we've got a couple of minutes. Let's take our time over this. Let's kill a few seconds off that clock.
Fans, an update on that Louisville City substitution. Entering the game was number 2, Austin King.
Austin King is in the game.
Reynolds.
He was the mysterious number 17, Austin King, in the game. He is a forward, so clearly head coach James O'Connor looking for some added forwards, trying to get the equalizer here late. With the clearance,
4 minutes
Mishak
of
Jerome.
extra time. 4 minutes of extra time.
I think Calbert's going to go in the book here.
Yep, and Calvert goes down, or rather it's going to get the card. Okay, it was now 4 minutes of stoppage time, and right back the ball goes into play, and the long ball by Shinosky goes untouched over the end line.
The crowd not happy with Calvert's yellow card, but he's fouled 3 or 4 times now in a row, and he's putting himself about. He's trying to make it hard for the Louisville defenders, but certainly, you foul persistently, you are going to get a yellow card eventually.
Absolutely. So that's Caleb's first yellow card of the season. So another booking for Charlotte, and they have not lacked 4 bookings tonight, but the important thing for them also is that they have scored a goal, and they have the lead in added time here. 4 minutes of injury time, probably about half of that is already gone. Murad sends a kick that he didn't get enough of up the field. Illick, now a poor clearance attempt here. Mishak tried to get that one over to Burner, but there to rescue the ball is Cox, and he sends it where it needs to go for Charlotte. That's further up the field. Ball headed out off the head of Shinosky. Independence will take it back now as time goes on, and Mike Jeffries anxiously awaits along with the rest of his team, looking for the first win in franchise history. Down goes Enzo Martinez.
I can't quite believe that's not a free kick there.
Wow.
For Independence.
Shinosky wound up getting one of, if not both of, Enzo's knees. No foul. Martinez takes it back. Shinosky marks him. Tried to play it for Calvert. Knocked away by Murad. Taken back by Rasmussen. Last minute charge for Louisville City. Up the field, Dakers with an errant pass. Cleared away by Duckett. Guzman is there. Murad now goes to King. Up the field, he takes it and out of play. They rule it's going to be Louisville City ball. Now in the box, Enzo Martinez heads it out. Everybody listening for a final whistle. Nothing yet. Shinosky looking for Dakers, but that's headed out by Cox. Enzo Martinez runs on. Dakers maintains possession. Metcalf blocks that. Here's Murad. Up the field for Fondy. Chance here. Illick tries to fire the shot in. Goes off of Jerome over the end line and another corner. Only fitting here for Louisville City. This is their 12th of the night. They have to make this one count. Otherwise, their undefeated string is over. And it goes, and it's headed out. And that does it. Finally, Charlotte has a victory. The first win in Independence history. A goal from Patrick Slogic has given Charlotte Independence a 1-0 victory. And you see Slogic drop to his knees and look to the sky, die by the sword. God save the Queen, as Charlotte has grabbed the victory. Their first 3 points in USL. And you see the blue smoke arise from Jack's militia. Finally, Independence has the win.
well, you see how much it means to the players. They're all congratulating each other, hugging each other, I'm sure Coach Jeffries will, I wouldn't say relieved, but I think I think that performance is coming. They've been positive over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and just to get that sort of monkey off the back, the first 3 points, I think psychologically here for the players, you see how happy they are, how congratulating each other, and they deserved it tonight. They created some good chances against a good Louisville team, and they can be proud of that performance there tonight, and a good 3 points.
Absolutely. It was a fine effort by a lot of different players tonight. Charlotte attacked and attacked. John Berner, though, was a man among men out there when it comes to goalkeeping, and we'll touch on that in just a moment. But first of all, we'll do this break, come back and run down this victory for Charlotte Independence as they have ended the 5-game undefeated string of Louisville City, knocking off LCFC tonight 1-0. We'll be back in just a moment.
For tickets, visit charlotteindependence.com.
Well, the first man to come over and shake hands with Jack's Militia was the man who scored the goal tonight, the first game-winning goal for Charlotte Independence. It was Patrick Slogic, and that was only fitting, as he was the man who headed home the game winner. And Charlotte not only gets the win, but they post their first clean sheet in franchise history, beating Louisville City tonight here 1-0 at Transamerica Field on Belt Track. And Jack, it was a stellar win. We'll take a look at the game-winning goal here in just a moment, as it came off a gorgeous assist from Enzo Martinez, who had just checked into the game just seconds beforehand. And certainly it was an opportunity for Slogic that several other Charlotte players could have had, but you can't say enough about the effort by John Berner tonight, as he comes up with a season-high 6 saves in this victory. And certainly Louisville City did not lack for chances in this game.
No, well, they worked hard as a team. They worked hard for each other. They defended from the front. They pressed the ball from the first whistle. Again, Coach Jeffries going nice and positive, even though he's not got the first win. He remained resolute. He remained in his game plan. And when you stick to, when you have confidence in what you're doing and you believe in what you're doing, the points are going to come, and it came tonight here. And it really, although the game was only 1-0, there was 33 total shots in the game. And you know, the game could have been 3-2, 4-3 Independence. You know, there was that many chances there, and I'm just glad they were able to keep the clean sheet. Like you said, Burner with a couple of big important saves, tipping over the bar, and they defended well from the set pieces. They're under heavy pressure. You know, Louisville really threw everything at them that they could, and they stood strong tonight and got 3 points.
So we'll take a look here at this corner. Keep in mind that Enzo Martinez had just checked in for Jack Thompson at the time of this corner kick. So as it came in from Jorge Herrera, it was momentarily knocked out by Scott Goodwin there, and then Martinez delivered a stellar cross that Slogic put away with his 6'6" frame. And he just got a head on it there. Looked like that he had an opportunity along with Belial Duckett. So 2 men who play along that defensive line for Charlotte were right there, and it just so happened that Patrick Slogic wound up getting the goal, the first game-winning goal in Charlotte Independence history, as they beat Louisville City tonight 1-0 for the franchise's first win, one that they desperately needed to get back in the playoff chase. And so Charlotte will conclude a 3-game homestand next Friday. However, it won't be here at UNC Charlotte. They're going to make the trek over to Winthrop University and play over in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And their opponent will be the Richmond Kickers. And that last word, Richmond was leading Charleston Battery 1-0 up in City Stadium. And, of course, just a few weeks ago, Richmond dominated Charlotte Independence, winning 3-0 in a game that featured 2 penalty kicks, both converted by Richmond. There was a hat trick in that game, and one thing that really stood out for Richmond in that game was, even though the score was lopsided, Jack, there was some stellar goalkeeping by Richmond. Again, Charlotte put a lot of balls on net. They had a lot of scoring opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, he made a number of great saves, denying the Independence a goal. So what's the scoreline? Was 3-0. You know, it doesn't truly reflect the Independence's performance in terms of their attacking prowess. And again, just, you know, delighted for the Independence team to come away with a 1-0 victory here tonight. It's fantastic, isn't it? The crowd are enjoying it. They're still out here. The children are on the field there with in and amongst the players, which is great to see. So, a great day and a great win for the Independence.
Absolutely. It's been some adversity facing this team, both on and off the field, and they've had to deal with a lot, but no doubt this is what they aim for tonight. Next week, they're going to have confidence going up against a Richmond team, one of the most established teams in all of American soccer, a franchise that's been going for over 22 years now, and right now is at the top of the table in the Eastern Conference. Well, Jack, thank you. Thank you very much, and thanks to Ryan Brown, our director here tonight. Patrick Slogic has a lot to talk about, as he will go down in history as the man who scored the first game-winning goal for Charlotte Independence, and Charlotte has a victory. Jack's Militia can rejoice as Charlotte downs Louisville City tonight 1-0. Good night from the Queen City.